Please read the disclaimer. XRP holders, let's get straight into it. So we had the Clarity Act meeting yesterday. We'll get to XRP and the price action. Currently, XRP is up about 1% here, but the big news today that we're going to get into is it's a potential very volatile Friday here. We got a lot of financial information that's coming out, GDP of the fourth quarter, US core PCE inflation, manufacturing PMI, new home sales, and the Supreme Court tariff ruling. Wawa. There's a lot of things that could shift the market. You could potentially see the market going one way and then flipping the other way, and why this information is being processed and the other information comes out, and this could be lots of volatility here today. So just take that into consideration. Yes, now when I'm recording, XRP is $1.41, but this could be a very, very volatile day, Freaky Friday, that's how we like to call it, and this could be one for the books. So just take that into consideration if you are thinking about tapping into your day trader skills here today, that it could be a day that could be very, very risky. So take that into consideration. Let's go to what happened at the meeting yesterday regarding the Clarity Act. So from a report from Eleanor here, she says, new per source in the room, today's stablecoin meeting was smaller than last week and included reps from Coinbase, Ripple, A16Z, plus trade groups, and no individual bank representative attended. Bank voices were represented via trade associations, ABA bankers, bank policy, and ICBA. Public statements from attendees are once again being described as productive and constructive, but what does that actually mean? Sources say that there was a notable difference today. The White House took the lead in driving the decision. So the White House is taking a big interest in this, and they want to get it done rather than letting crypto firms and bank trade steer the discussions as in prior meetings. White House Crypto Council Executive Director Patrick J. Witt brought draft text that served as the central focus of the conversation. The language acknowledged concerns bank raised in last week's yield and interest prohibition principles document, while making clear that any future restrictions on rewards would be narrow in scope. Earning yield on idle balances, a key crypto industry goal, is effectively off the table. So it seems that that is not going to happen. Because they won't let it pass with it, right? The banks are not going to let that happen. It seemed that was the way that we were going, but it is what it is right now. Maybe in the future things can change. The debate has narrowed to whether firms can offer reward linked to certain activities. One crypto site attendee told her that the bank concerns appear to stem more from competitive pressure than from deposit flight, which had been framed as the original worry. A bank side source told me that they'd still pushing to include a deposit outflow study in the draft, one that would examine the growth of payment stablecoins and their potential impact on bank deposits. The same source said that they were encouraged by proposed anti-evasion language that would give the SEC, Treasury, and the CFTC authority to enforce a ban on paying yield on idle balances, with civil monetary penalties of $500,000 per violation per day. So what's next? Bank trade groups will brief their members on today's discussion and gauge whether there's room to compromise on allowing crypto firms to offer stablecoin rewards. One source said an end-of-month deadline doesn't seem unrealistic, with talks set to continue in the next coming days. And Stuart Alderati, the CLO, the Chief Legal Officer of Ripple, was there, and he says that he reviewed specific language for the Clarity Act today, and work will continue in the next coming days. So it seems that this will continue to be on the table for the next coming weeks. Towards the end of the month, we'll see. But April, I think, seems more realistic right now. Hopefully there's no government shutdowns or anything like that. And we'll see how it plays out. If we look at what's happening between Iran, USA, and what could happen there, no real updates. but the days go on. Trump said last night he's giving 10 days. So that's already down to 9 days. We'll see. The countdown continues on that. I know a lot of people were kind of in the comment section last night, this way or that way. Um, you can, it's your opinion is valid in both ways. People think differently. People have different views, and that's great. I just want quiet on my front and live in peace. That's all you want, right? At the end of the day. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, that could affect the market. I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, I want to remind you about our partnership here with BTCC and this amazing promotion. Take advantage of this, people, please. 30% deposit bonus. It's not going to last forever. And so you can get that, sign up using my link. You go to my website, which is in the description down below. You click here on the link, and then you go to my website, scroll down, see my beautiful face here, scroll down to BTCC, and you can sign up and you get the 30% deposit. You can go long on the market, you can go short, whatever your heart desires. But please, please, please trade responsibly, and I will get a commission. So thank you for that. Now, if we look at the market and we look at what is potentially, going to happen here, well, I have a nugget for you at the end, right? I've been watching a show. It's relevant to that, so make sure to watch all the way to the end. It's not really crypto related, but you might be interested. So if we look at what's happening on the crypto market and the crypto market indicators, not a single bull market indicator was triggered in when we hit the local top there, right? And so when you look at that and you look at where the markets are and you look at where Bitcoin is, you look where Ethereum is and where XRP is, and you say, okay, none of the things that flashed previously flashed this time. So what does this mean? And I'm still sticking with my theory that because we didn't have the crescendo and because none of these things, crossed over and flashed, right? None of these indicators, and there's a whole list of them, right? That the dip here won't be as bad as some people are thinking. Now, there are people that are already out there saying, XRP can go down to $1 and that range. And yes, that's a possibility. We always take these possibilities on the table. If we're not getting very much new subscribers. So I'm gonna assume, although it's not good to ever assume, that you guys have been here before and you're not new. I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when I do that, I give you the broadest spectrum of possibilities that could happen. That's what I do when I do my plans. I say, okay, what happens if suddenly Trump says something? What happens if actually the Clarity Act passed? What happens XYZ? And what am I going to do there? What are my assets? How much am I going to have coming in the next month? What do I get, right? And then you can build a plan for the next 6 months, for the next year. And it's not all willy-nilly, right? Many people, they just go willy-nilly. And that's, in my opinion, that's how big mistakes are made. It's from my experience. Again, this is just my mistakes and my mishaps and things that I have done in the past when I didn't have lots of experience in the crypto markets and in trading and in the stock markets as well. And I'm trying to share with you my experience and my losses and my mishaps. Okay. So there's still a possibility that the market continues this, you could call it sluggish. No. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to use this sell off, right? But that's not the word I wanted. And so we'll potentially see what happens here. Again, we could look up in a month or two and we're back at 270-ish range. Like all these possibilities are still on the table. Many times what happens is when everybody thinks, right, that we're at the bottom or that the market will continue to crash, it usually recovers off of that. We're still in extreme fear, right? And again, I don't like to use fear in this sense of markets. I say concerns because I told you I leave fear for real world stuff. Like, okay, we haven't had a siren here in a while, in a minute, but you're always still, thinking, okay, you go outside, okay, yeah, I look, where can I go? What can I do? Like, it's still in my second nature. Okay, where can I find shelter? Things like that. It's kind of built into me right now. Maybe it will subside if we don't have for a few years, but it's still how I am. I'm still that's has created a situation in me that I always have a monkey on my shoulder. Yes, I am optimistic, but I always look for the possibilities that it doesn't play out the way I want it or the way I thought. But again, still thinking here because we didn't see all these flash and we doesn't have the big crescendo, the banana zone, that we won't see a too extreme of a sell-off. Meaning, I know that we already had a sell-off, but the sell-off that happened in 2021 to 2020 to 2023, you could say was minus 77% here for Bitcoin. So minus 77 would bring us right now to about 28,000, somewhere that range. That would be the relevant percentage. Okay, so we're still not there, right? Bitcoin would have to drop about 50% from here for us to get there. And so still, I'm saying that could happen. That's still a possibility. But I think because we didn't experience this, right? We didn't experience the massive run up, that we won't experience the massive sell off. Maybe we do, but again, that's just my theory. Maybe it happens, right? We had 524%, in that very short period of time. And although you could say, well, how about this, right? This run up here, whoops, we can't see it, was only 120%. So the run up from the Trump election was only 120 in that 300 days. It wasn't, if you go from the low, right? So 15,000 to 120, that was 700%, but that was almost 3 years. And if you do something similar to the previous cycle, right, then that was almost 2,000% in the same basically amount 3 years. So we didn't experience the same type of run up, but each cycle actually the run up has become smaller, right? If you take 2017, right, it went from 1,000, which was the high, to 20,000. And then 2021, it went from 20,000, which was the high, to 64,000. Maybe this time it's only from 64,000 to 120. And maybe next time around, it will be from 120 to 240, right? Or maybe from 120 to 180. Maybe it's going to slow down. But still, 180 from now is a 3x return. So that's not too shabby. But still, we'll see how this market will potentially develop here. And so that will be very interesting. Quickly, I just wanted to report on this. Soil launched what it says is the first compliant RWA-backed yield protocol on the XRP ledger, giving RLUSD holders on-chain returns. So again, a more use case for XRPL here. And potentially use for XRP. And now, so I've been rewatching. I really didn't watch it back in the day, but it's like on the VOD here. And so, my wife, she had the surgery. We're looking for stuff to watch while she's recovering. So I've been watching this show, Third Rock from the Sun. It's an old show, right? From like the late 90s, early 2000s. And they do a lot of stuff there that you wouldn't air today, right? With the whole situation in around the world today, but they're aliens, right? And I keep thinking about this. And President Trump ordered the government to release classified files on aliens, UFOs, extraterrestrial life, and unidentified aerial phenomena. So maybe soon we're going to know if aliens are actually with us. Maybe President Trump. I saw a cool TikTok yesterday that showed how President Trump would look if he was born in different countries. It was really cool. But anywho, maybe there's aliens. Maybe this data changes how we look at things. And maybe, I don't know, will it affect crypto? Probably not, but I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was cool that maybe we're going to get information that we never knew before. Maybe this is real, maybe it's not. You would think if there was actually concrete data, he would be afraid to release it, but who knows? We'll see. President Trump has done things like this before. So we're going to get new information if there are aliens or extraterrestrial life. The probability is that there is, but also that it could be, far enough away that they can't reach us, or that they're not developed enough and things like that. But it is interesting, and maybe we'll get something about it. So that is a cool anecdote to end the video. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below to BTCC if you're interested in that 30% deposit. Thank you for deposit bonus. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.